Game number 4, it's going to be Druid versus Secret Paladin. Carleton's going to need a little bit better of an opening hand in this. They're going to stick with the Shade and hope they can roll through this one. Blood Knight teched into this list.
Wow. The follow-up to the shielded mini-bot, you just throw down a Blood Knight, and all of a sudden it's a GG.
This is actually a great spot for Carleton. They're opening with Darnassus Aspirant. It's uncontested on turn 2. They have Shade on turn 3, and even the trump card with Blood Knight, should their opponent have shielded mini-bot in this spot. This situation's looking fantastic for them right now.
It's going to come back to bite them if shielded mini-bot's just never drawn, but I guess it's still a 3-3 for 3, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
It could also just, like, it can counter, like, Coghammer shields.
Oh, that's true. Coghammer as well, yeah. Any other Tyrion, I suppose?
I actually really like this choice given how poor this matchup can be for Druid.
Yeah.
You know, this time Ohio State opened up with a pretty darn poor draw. I mean, this is about one of the worst ones you can get in terms of still being able to be playable. But, you know, you look at this situation, and Carleton, they're all smiles about this. They know that they have this game like close to wrapped up if Ohio State can't answer what's happening very soon.
Wait till we get him, guys. Wait till he plays the mini-bot.
Now, they did draw dead for a turn too, though, so, I mean, that's something to consider.
Yeah, a decent curve after that, I suppose.
Get down!
But, yeah, pretty dead turn there. It's going to be anticlimactic if there is never Divine Shield. But it's very unlikely that it's not going to come at all.
Yeah, I've played Blood Knight several times in decks where I just really want to kill Paladins. Like, I remember when, right before League of Explorers out, and the sentiment was that Paladins just all over the ladder. I played a Shaman list that completely shut down Paladins. I played, like, Unstable Ghoul. I played Flame Jugglers and stuff. And I even played Blood Knight, but Blood Knight was actually one of the weakest tech cards, I think, against it, because even if they have Divine Shield, unless you get it as like the turn 3 play, it's not very strong, generally speaking, because they'll just ignore your 6/6, play Noble Sacrifice, and do something else.
Ohio State showed off their 18-sided Rubik's Cube. This guy left struggling. He's like, I've been trying to solve this one for decades.
What would be cool is if he just like messed it up and solved it while they were playing in front of everybody.
I think they got bigger fish to fry right now. The Shade comes out of stealth here, actually just contest this board position. You know, we mentioned Carleton, one of the ways they fall out of this game is if they just draw dead for a couple turns. Well, their turn 3 and turn 4 were basically nothing.
But look at this curve for Ohio State. Sludge Belcher into Mysterious Challenger into Dr. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, Carleton didn't pick up the key draws to keep this ball rolling.
Yeah.
And so because of that, Ohio State, they're just going to be able to climb back into this game. But they do have a question in front of them. Do they contest this Shade this turn or not?
Well, if you play Sludge Belcher, it's just going to die to the Shade. So I think it might be better to play Peacekeeper or something else on it. But maybe you don't mind it dying, because then it becomes a 5-1. I don't know. I just feel like you can get punished pretty heavily if you play Belcher. There's lots of ways it can go wrong.
Now, quickly. Belcher certainly, it's a tricky play. I mean, it doesn't really gain you a lot of ground, but it doesn't really lose you a lot of ground either. So the trade on the 1/1's super important here. It avoids an attack from the Shade and then swipe, forcing him to take extra damage.
Yeah, but now the incentive is not to attack with the Shade. Now if you protect it, it becomes a 6/4, and then you're actually in a very awkward spot the following turn too. So I can understand the fanciness of it, but the problem is that the Shade gets +1/+1 each turn.
Sure. They do have the Ironbeak Owl back behind, though, so they can shut off a taunt. I mean, Ironbeak Owl is largely just not very good in this matchup.
Yeah,
They could even silence the Shade afterwards and just keep fighting.
Yeah, Shredder's Ancient of Wars.
Oh,
pretty much only targets.
So silence on the Shade and then the Consecration. I mean, Consecration's also not very good in this matchup.
Okay, fair
so they do have options back behind this. I mean, it looks to me like they had the foresight for this. That's what they were talking about, is how do they set up the turn afterwards.
Yeah, it's definitely reasonable. I think another thing that you also want to consider, too, is how many minions you're setting up with things like Mysterious Challenger the following turns.
Where shall I
So, something like how if you have 2 minions, Mysterious Challenger with 2 targets to get the Avenge buff is really big, because then Big Game Hunter can't be shut down on it. In fact, I know some Paladin lists that refuse to run Competitive Spirit now because they don't want Mysterious Challenger to get Big Game Hunter anymore.
Yeah. It makes it harder to plan, too. Well, the play that Admirable was talking about is still on the table with Owl. and Consecrate. It feels pretty bad to not play Mysterious Challenger on curve, but when there's obviously better plays, you can forego it. It's still going to be strong on turn 7. Still going to be strong on turn 8.
Yeah, it's kind of just like the Mysterious Challenger is almost checked in this spot, where the Owl and Consecrate just aren't doing very much. So if you get just one extra turn, and then you still play on curve, but you've used relatively poor tools in the matchup to pretty good effect, I mean, I can't really think of a situation where you're getting more bang for your buck.
Unless he has a quality in the deck.
That's definitely a possibility. I mean, we did see it earlier. We were baffled by the Secret Paladin who was playing equality against us yesterday.
We've seen many Secret Paladins run very interesting tech. Think about if you're going to follow this Mysterious Challenger line.
I don't mind this either. I mean, this does.
It's the strongest tempo play that you have.
You do pull 3 secrets out of your deck too, so you're not going to be drawing those either. There is a lot to be said about that.
I'm just really worried about a BGH swing. That's all.
Carleton's faces when the Mysterious Challenger came down, they said, it's turn 6, and you took all the way until the rope went all the way to the end to play Mysterious Challenger on turn 6.
It wasn't an obvious turn.
Yeah, but from their perspective, it's like, oh, geez, what are they doing?
I would be terrified if it took my opponent 90 seconds to play a Mysterious Challenger.
Sure, yeah.
I'd go, oh my gosh, what is their hand? Like, am I just dead already? Like, what do they do that's better than this? This was a debate?
Sideshow Spell Eater.
Don't mock
That's
that card,
what they were debating.
Dude, that card is pretty nuts.
We were talking about playing that list actually, in case they played Control.
Yeah, in case they play Control Warrior, we were going to play a Dreadsteed Warlock with Control Paladin.
It's Control Paladin with Sideshow Spell Eater.
I know Dreadsteed Warlock is actually starting to put that in too.
Yeah,
because they want to stop tapping at one point, so they don't have to use the hero power.
Steal the tank up.
Yep. Or steal anything. Like anything besides. They actually don't care about anything outside of life pack things.